Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And this weekend, we're going to find out if Keyshawn Davis is another Adrien Broner or if Keyshawn Davis is the real deal. Because he's gotten himself into what I'm going to call a real fight when he faces off against Edwin de los Santos. Now, this is the thing. You may say, well, what's up with the Adrien Broner comparison, right? Adrien Broner was very cocky, very arrogant, very flashy, and quite disrespectful to his opponents, especially after he really started to make a name for himself, making money, and cleared out 130, handled the business at 135. And when I say cleared out, I mean he was just winning, right? So cleared out 130, 135, 140, went to 147, clipped Malignaggi. When I say clip, I mean he beat him. Then he got into it with Marcos Maidana, and he just felt that was going to be an easy fight. Kind of like when I listen to Keyshawn. Keyshawn kind of sounds like this is just a stepping stone to something bigger and better. Edwin de los Santos is a good fighter, but not much of a threat to him. Let me tell you something. Same way Broner was talking about after he finishes with Maidana. Maidana going to be speaking English. And at the end of that fight, Maidana had Broner ass speaking Spanish. If Keyshawn don't have his shit together, at the end of that fight, just like Adrien Broner, Edwin de los Santos could have Keyshawn speaking Spanish. Now the thing about this, Keyshawn Davis is the favorite going into the fight, and you could understand that. But there's some factors that make this fight very, very competitive. Everyone's talking about the power of de los Santos, but forget that. Let's talk about the speed and technical skill. Davis is sharp, he's disciplined, he has excellent timing, and he's fast. He's going to need that against de los Santos, okay? Now, de los Santos is coming off of inactivity for nearly 19 months. Before that, he was fighting consistently. Now, Keyshawn Davis has been fighting consistently, all right? So when you think about that, a guy who's been active against a guy who's been inactive, no matter how good of a training camp the inactive fighter had, you kind of wonder if the reflexes and instinct and everything's going to be there. The mind may tell you to do this, the body may not respond the way you want because the activity level just hasn't been there over the last 19 months. So I think that gives Keyshawn Davis a really good upper hand, and I think that's why he's the favorite to win the fight. And then you got to look at the fight ain't taking place in the Dominican Republic, República de Dominicana. That ain't where it's happening. The shit's happening in Norfolk, Virginia. Keyshawn Davis is from Virginia. So when you look at the fight being there, Davis is going to have strong support. And, you know, when these guys walk out on the big stage, it was 12,000 people last time Davis fought out there. That's a lot of people. Sold out. It's going to be sold out again. So the home support in the crowd could affect the climate, could affect the atmosphere and environment. But we just have to wait and see. So when you look at that, Davis has an upper hand. Now, why de los Santos can pull off the upset, look, that power, man. Look, this guy had 14 KOs and 16 wins. All right? And when he was fighting Shakur Stevenson felt that shit early. And then he turned into a boxer runner. Shakur was trying to fight him. He got binged early in the fight. Shit changed. Immediately, his approach to that fight changed. So the power. He carries knockout potential in both hands. And he's vicious. If you go down like El Rayo, he will hit you while you're down. He'll hit you behind the head. He doesn't care. He's there to win. So that's something that Keyshawn Davis has to be, and his team should be abreast of and should be prepared for, in addition to that southpaw stance. Let me tell y'all something. Something about them left-hand fighters, when they get in there with them orthodox fighters, they can throw that right hand as much as they want. Sometimes they ain't ready for the way that left hand comes, the angle it comes from, the explosiveness and power that it can carry, especially coming from someone like Edwin de los Santos. So it could create some huge problems for Davis, especially if de los Santos can find those openings. And then you hear a lot of people out here talking. Tim Bradley always has something to say. Most of the time we don't agree with him. But when he comes out here and says, you know, look, Edwin de los Santos, inactive or not, he has the ability to catch Davis and put him to sleep if he lands clean. And you know what? When you got a guy who can crack like that, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt to get in the ring and let his hands go. because I just can't see De Los Santos sitting back being okay with the pace of the fight going at a pace that's comfortable and plays and favors Keyshawn Davis. Now, in my opinion, Davis has to take some risks. You know what I'm saying? He got to keep De Los Santos guessing. Now, can he do that? I don't know, but they got to be smart risks if he wants to control the fight, man. Now, if he plays it too safe, because he may get hit with some shit early and play it too safe, kind of like Shakur Stevenson, that's going to give De Los Santos confidence. He may start chasing him around the ring or start setting traps. And at the end of the day, if he says, yo, this guy's scared of my power, he's not going to look to jab him. He's going to look to throw more power shots. And that could be all bad. You see, when you get somebody hurt, then all of a sudden comes not just the guy trying to land the power shots, they're putting under pressure. They're being calculated with their aggression now because they know they have the upper hand. You're intimidated. So that calculated aggression, and then some guys get anxious and they just start, throwing punches. Reactionary, like they can't think. So they just punch out of the fear of getting hit. And when they do that, the sharp counter punching from that southpaw, that shit comes into play. And that could be the key. I'm just telling you. Now, if Davis forces exchanges, look, the right moments, and then pivots out, well, then he can regain the momentum of the fight. But all I'm saying, someone's got to make somebody hesitant in that fight and then assert their dominance. Now, can Keyshawn do that? I don't know. Can Edwin do it? I don't know. But we're going to find out here in a couple of days, right? Now, as far as Davis trying to press De Los Santos, or should he wait later in the fight? Look, man, I think Davis should be waiting for openers. I don't think he should be too crazy running in there, especially in the first 4 rounds, trying to press De Los Santos. Unless they've been working on something in camp, and he just, again, has got the Crawford, the Crawford code going on. If he has that shit, he may be able to do it. If he worked with Mayweather for a little bit, maybe he worked with Mayweather and learned how to stay in the pocket with them power punches and ride shots and catch shots and counter and break them down standing in the center of the ring. I don't know, but all I'm saying is, to me, he may have to just, fight him, but wait for those openings to exploit and then go from there, because it's all about capitalizing on every opportunity with sharp shots and heavy shots. That's if Davis recognizes what's coming at him, because he's got the ability to make De Los Santos pay for mistakes. Davis has showed that in every fight. He can make you pay for mistakes, but you got to look at the caliber of opponents that he's fought. But at the end of the day, I think what's won Davis fights in the past, even though I don't think the level of opposition has been that great, is discipline. He's got discipline. I think Davis has more discipline than De Los Santos. Davis is the kind of guy like he'll get you hurt and may want to get into a reckless exchange, but then take it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you in the boiling water or something, and the heat's up high and it's about to bubble over. Then you got to turn that heat down. You don't let it get cold, but you turn it down mid-temperature, then you know when to pick it back up. And that's what Davis does. And he's going to have to do that. Because if he just get all excited because he buzzed De Los Santos, he can get into a reckless exchange like Valenzuela did and then get his ass knocked out. And that's exactly what happened. So De Los Santos is always dangerous. He gets back up, and he knows you hurt me, but I can hurt you too. And that's what he's looking to do. I wonder though, man, the timing, the counters, the southpaw stance. I just wonder if Davis is. I know he has a smart team, but man, how in that training camp, what were they doing to help him really work on his counters with somebody coming from that southpaw stance and to land clean shots on a southpaw? Especially somebody who's smart like De Los Santos. Because I think De Los Santos may hesitate really to throw with full power early and just box and tap him up. And then Davis could get a little hesitant because he's like, okay, he's not really swinging and trying to knock me out like I thought. And then out of nowhere, you see as the rounds progress, then De Los Santos explodes and catches him with some shit because he wasn't expecting him. He's thinking, okay, he's going to try to box his way to a victory. And then De Los Santos sets that trap, gets him to get a little comfortable and explodes and knocks him out. But anyway, setting traps is key for De Los Santos and for Keyshawn. And I just think it's a matter of who can lure who into making mistakes. And they both can do it. But that's what I'm be looking at. Like Keyshawn's not all that experienced. I know he went to the Olympics and all that, but as a pro fighter, he's never really had to pass a test. He passes the eye test, but he's never really had to pass a test. What I mean is get knocked down and get back up and fight. Get hurt, visibly hurt, shook, dancing salsa in the ring, and get up and continue to fight and win. He's never done that. All the greats have done it. He hasn't. I'm not saying De Los Santos is a great, but he sure as hell has gone through that already, hasn't he? Go down, get up, and let the hammers fly. We're about to leave in 5 minutes. I'm coming right now. Right now, okay? Go ahead until I come out, okay? That's my little man right there. But the bottom line is Davis has to stay patient. He got to recognize the setups. So does De Los Santos. And they both got to strike when the openings come. If they can do that, man, I think they'll be all right. But this shit about getting excited and rushing in blindly, that is a no-no. Very smart footwork, sharp counters, precision timing. I just think if you can do that and make the other guy hesitant, I think one of them can dictate the fight. I'm thinking Keyshawn, man, but I just don't know. And the reason I'm thinking Keyshawn is because everything I said, I can see them both doing it, but the conditioning, I just think Keyshawn's conditioning is going to be a little bit better, which may allow him to have more success at the aforementioned. You know what I mean? But we just got to see, because it's going to be high energy from both, but who's going to be able to sustain the pace is what I want to know. If De Los Santos can do it, that just makes the fight even more dangerous for Davis. But I would have to think that Davis would be able to pick up the pace and maintain the pace more than De Los Santos, because he's been more active and he's been in shape consistently throughout the last 12 months. But we'll see. They both got to stay sharp the entire time. Can't fall into a defensive lull. And I just think setups and power shots is what they both going to need. But De Los Santos, De Los Santos does all this stuff too. But Davis is the guy, although I think De Los Santos does some things better, I think Davis manages distance and controls exchanges a little bit better because he's more disciplined and he's thinking. Anyway, let's see what happens. The fight's supposed to go 12 rounds. I don't know how Davis will perform in deep waters if he gets in the rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12, especially against a guy who carries his power late. But I think the pressure is going to be important for both to really get into those late rounds and have the upper hand. But the bottom line, somebody's going to have to pick up the pace at some time if there's lulls. And when they're doing that, they're going to have to be smart. If not, somebody's going to get stopped. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Neither one of these guys can sit back and wait to see what the other one's doing. By then, it may be too late. Who wins this fight? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I'm always picking somebody. I don't mind if I'm wrong. I mean, all we can do is predict, speculate, dialogue. But I just have a weird feeling, man. I don't know. I think somebody gonna get knocked out. Who? I don't know. But we're gonna find out, aren't we? Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.